What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Amatella podcast with your host, yours truly, Jai Shields, here on this Friday, June the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2025, here to kick off Father's Day weekend and a happy, safe, blessed, wonderful, and memorable Father's Day to all you fathers out there watching and listening and have been fans of this show, whether it's your first time, week, month, you've been with us since September of 2018. Happy Father's Day to each and every one of y'all out there. We got a good show here for you today. Obviously, you got the NBA Finals, Game 4 tonight, Game 3 to recap and discuss from Wednesday, games that's been played since the last time we chatted. Obviously, you have Major League Baseball to discuss, give you some commentary on these guys for the first time in a hot minute. The Yankees and the Tigers are the cream of the crop of the American League, and then it's everybody else within the junior circuit. So I'll give my 2 cents on the state of and the uncompetitive, boring, and mid-state of the American League here through the first 2.5 months of the season. Dodgers and Padres played in San Diego over the week. Give my 2 cents on that series. Giants and Dodgers at Dodger Stadium coming up here this weekend. So we'll be in and out here for you here on this Friday show. And yes, I do have a new piece of Orioles memorabilia in my wardrobe, that being the sleeveless Nike pullover hoodie, which I bought when I went to the game with my middle school basketball coach originally, and I ran into my high school history teacher who was there. So I ran into both of them. That was the game against the White Sox on the 31st. Yeah, the 31st a few weeks ago. So I copped it then. Not bad. It's comfy. It's not too heavy, but just heavy enough so if you wear it and it's below, 73 degrees, you're not freezing. I like it because I can, you show off the gun show. Your boy obviously has been in the gym. That's what I'm talking. Come on. Come on. Give your boy some credit. He's in the gym. He's hitting the weights. Look at that. Look at that. Come on. Tyler O'Neill and Ramon Laureano ain't the only guys that wear the orange and black that's got bulky Rubenesque biceps. So anyway, so I have that obviously, and I got the City Connect cap on backwards for you. So should we wear it like this? Nah, I don't know. I like to wear it backwards. Well, let's wear it backwards just to keep the bad enough trying to get light in my home studio here, and the brim will just do nothing but block it. But anyway, let's jump right into it. Be a quick show here for you today, and I'll also discuss the NBA Finals lacking aura. So let me begin there, and then I'll get to the game itself, or the series itself, with the meat and potatoes between the Pacers and the Thunders. And we've discussed this before. This isn't anything that we haven't already conversated about regarding the NBA Finals, but it lacks its aura. It lacks that feeling that you're watching a championship, professional basketball championship series. It lacks that, and it's easy to kind of pin the blame on. Well, not I shouldn't say that. Commercialism and selling everything to make a buck should not be the primary excuse or the primary culprit, because the NFL has made and squeezed every single nickel it has at its disposal with the Super Bowl, with that week, the festivities, the concerts, in terms of like the parties with the concerts in which the parties take place and around, and vice versa. The they monetize the sponsorship for the halftime show. Everything. They got so many sponsors: Pepsi, Gatorade, Bud Light, I'm sure, Head and Shoulders. You name it. The NFL, Nike, they make money hand over fist with it. They got a sponsorship with Smirnoff. They got sponsorships with Sleep Number. They got sponsorships with Invisalign. It's all over the place with the NFL. They make any avenue they can find a way to make a nickel, especially regarding their granddaddy of them all in the Super Bowl. They're going to be able to capitalize and be able to make every nickel that's available on the table for them to make. But even in all of that and how the NFL operates in this hood is bothering me. It's not setting straight, so I do apologize. But even in 2025, how the NFL operates in 2025, they still have not lost their fastball in terms of making the Super Bowl a big event. If anything, they've built up to so much of an event where it feels more like an event than it does a championship. They go the other way. They make too much big of a deal and too much of a spectacle and too much hoopla and too much pomp and circumstance surround the Super Bowl that it doesn't fairly to the hardcore football fan that's there from preseason in August and week 1 in September all the way through February. It doesn't feel like a football game to us. So they go the other way. But to some extent, I can't criticize them, and I gotta give them credit because at least they make it known to the masses that this is a big-time, monumental sporting event you are about to watch. And with the NBA Finals, it's on the opposite side of the spectrum. It's too much the other way. Now, they got all of the commercialization that the NFL does, but without the huge pomp and circumstance. You watch Super Bowl, you know it's Super Bowl. You got the 2 Super Bowl logos there on each 25-yard lines on both sides of the field. You see it's Super Bowl everywhere you look. Super Bowl, with the Eagles and the Chiefs this past February. You saw LIX Super Bowl 50. Everywhere you look, you knew that it was Super Bowl. You know it was. Now, granted, their championship is a neutral site. NBA Finals, like the World Series, like the Stanley Cup Final, is not like that. So you have to give them a little bit of a break. It can only feel but so much of a big game compared to a Super Bowl or compared to a Final Four because it doesn't take place at a neutral site, but still it's no excuse. I mean, and the excuse that Adam Silver gave pregame to Game 3 on NBA Countdown on ABC Wednesday night. Well, the reason why that we got rid of the finals decals on the floor because there was a player safety issue in terms of slippage. Now, I know I'm only 23 years of age, but I cannot recall since they put the final signage on the courts when they started doing that, probably sometime in the early to mid 90s, they started doing that. But from the time that I have been alive in the 21st century, I cannot recall not one time a player tearing a hamstring, blowing out an Achilles, blowing out a knee, tweaking a knee. I can't recall not one time a player bitching and moaning, saying how much of a safety issue it is because of them running up and down the court full speed, and they run on where the finals logo is plastered on the court, and they deem that an issue of player safety. So that one, crock of shit, number one. And then number two, the reason why that argument from Adam Silver holds absolutely positively zero weight to it is because of the fact you take a look at the in-season tournament, and it's an eyesore. They put these grotesque, obnoxious, comically bright and colorful courts together. They don't want to. I don't hear anything about player safety then. Now, and I know it's not that they paint over the original court. They make an entirely separate, unique court design that they haul in there for the in-season tournament. They have the main primary court. They have the court they play on for the in-season tournament, and they got the court that they play on when a team wears either their throwback uniforms or their City Connects. So if you can make 3 separate courts for the regular season, why can't you make an extra one when it's playoff time? I don't understand. All the NBA loves to do is interchange uniforms and court designs. That's all what they love to do. 30 different types of uniform combinations, 3-4 different types of floor design. So what's it to you to add another one for the NBA Finals? Okay, if you want to put an actual decal on the original floor like you did back in the old days, it's 2025. Just you can afford it. Just go ahead when you find out the two, especially when it takes you literally forever to start the finals in between the conference finals and the start of the NBA finals, especially if there's a sweep or a 5-game series in either two conference championship series. Here's what you do. In that 5 to 20 day period in between games, the deciding game of the conference finals and game 1 of the NBA finals, here's what you do. You do what the NCAA does in between the Elite Eight and the Final Four. set aside a time, you design the courts, 2 courts, both teams. They don't wear the City Connects or the throwbacks or none of that. Come finals time or playoff time. So you make a basic court design that's similar to what it's like, in the regular season, but you add a nice little bells and whistles to it to let us know that it's the NBA Finals. So instead of you having the big, the plaster of the Larry O'Brien trophy at midcourt, here's what you do. Maybe you have like a shadow accent of the Larry O'Brien trophy at midcourt, like I saw in a design that a TikToker did on Twitter earlier this week. Maybe you don't have to put the decal there, but how about you design it so where you have it's the Pacer logo midcourt, and then you have like a nice gigantic shadow silhouette of the Larry O'Brien trophy, similar to how it was back, 25, 30 something years ago. Why not just do that? And then also in your design, have the regular, not the little halvesies version where it's the NBA logos and it says finals. No, I want NBA logo and the way it was back in the day. What 90s, 2000s, early 2010s, where it was NBA logo and you actually is one of the smoothest, cleanest looking logos in all of professional sports in the script NBA the finals logo on it. Come on, people. It's not that complicated. Adam Silver, it's not pulling teeth. It doesn't cost you a nickel. All it takes is just a know-how, an intelligent brain, and the ability to give a damn. It does not take that much effort to come up with an idea of how to bring this back to the NBA Finals landscape. This screams NBA Finals. You look at this logo, what do you think? You think Bad Boy Pistons. You think Jordan's Bulls. You think LeBron James and those Cavs Warrior matchups. You think Game 7, Cavs Warriors 2016. You think blocked by James. You think LeBron's Miami Heat teams going against Pop and Duncan and the Spurs back in the day. You think of the Pistons of the mid-2000s. You think of Kobe and Shaq. You think of Pau Gasol. You think of Kevin Garnett when you see this logo. This communicates championship basketball. Not the halvesies thing. I gotta see the in it because the finals, it adds that level of authenticity and majesty to it. With this on the floor. Now you tell me you don't want to put the decal back on the floor? Fine. Here's what you do in between series. You go out and you design a special court. So this is already, you like how you can't see it, but like how the flame of the Miami Heat logo is ingrained into the design of the floor and it's not like an add-on thing. You can do the same thing with the NBA Finals logo. You do it for an asinine in-season tournament in the middle of November through January. You can do it for your League World Championship Series. Stop with the excuses. And don't sit there and give me the nonsense. Well, it's monetized by YouTube TV. We got to make sure YouTube TV ads are shown all over the place. Who cares? And if you want to incorporate it, fine. But last I also checked, Major League Baseball has their championship series monetized. It used to be World Series presented by YouTube TV. Now it's World Series presented by Capital One. But last I checked, the last handful of years, they make sure you turn on the TV, you see in big, bold lettering and in coloring, World Series on the infield grasses on the opposite ends of both baselines. Third baseline, first baseline, you see it. 2024, 2023, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. You see it. World Series. And if underneath it, it'll have the YouTube TV or Capital One logo, you know what? We'll live. We'll live. Go and ingratiate it into the court design and have a nice little presented by YouTube TV with the red and white YouTube play button and call it a day. You watch the game and you see more YouTube TV logos than you do NBA Finals logos. And you don't get that in the other sports. You don't get that in baseball. Football loves themselves some money and sponsorships like no other, but damn it, they're going to let you know that you are watching the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 56, 7, 8, 9, 60, 75, 89th. They're going to let it is the Super Bowl. Got two big ass logos on opposite sides of the 50-yard line. Now, they too might put, little sponsorship logos on the field, but they're not going to take away the aura and the essence of the game you're watching in turn to make a nickel. They'll put as many sponsorship logos on the field, but them two Super Bowl logos at both 25-yard lines, you bet your bottom dollar National Football League, those aren't going anywhere. Might be a bunch of sponsorship logos, on everywhere else on the field, but the two big bold Super Bowl logos, those two decorations that let you know this is what I'm watching, those aren't going anywhere. Baseball, same thing. It's the World Series. Super Bowl is the most watched, most popular, most majestic championship series in American professional sports. The World Series is the oldest one. And somehow those two have managed to still make it feel like you're watching the World Series, watching the Super Bowl, NBA Finals. Sometime, if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was a highly anticipated regular season game in March, or just another playoff series. You got to bring that back. People, Silver and them, think that the little things like that don't matter. Let me clue you guys in on something. It does. It does. It means something to the fans, especially those of us that have watched NBA finals and NBA playoff basketball and NBA basketball in general all our lives. You think it doesn't matter? The little bells and whistles and trinkets and nuances like that matters. It matters to us as fans. It matters for the game experience. It matters. It matters. Not some CGI computer generated image on the no. You literally go out of your way to redesign courts simply based on what uniform a given team is wearing on a particular night. You do it for that, and you do it for your stupid in-season tournament that nobody cares about. You make a bigger deal about the in-season tournament than you do about the freaking NBA Finals. It's enough. Adam Silver, wake up, buddy, and get with it. Tired of it. And the booth in terms of ESPN, that goes without saying. He'll forever be one of the biggest disgraces in the history of sports broadcasting that Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson aren't behind the microphone sitting courtside with Mike Breen. Those guys are the NBA Finals. Those guys are the NBA Finals. And when your sport has a singular not one specific broadcaster, but a broadcasting team that's synonymous with the game, with the sport that they call, you don't mess it up. You don't mess it up. NFL back in the day, John Madden and Pat Summerall. And then with their prime, the tandem of Cosell, Don Meredith, and Frank Gifford with Monday Night Football. You don't mess that up. And the NBA did. And it's still one of the most harebrained, most asinine, ass-backward, mind-boggling decisions in the history of sports broadcasting and in sports media in the last 20-something years. Still pisses me off because those guys do not deserve to be let go. Jeff Van Gundy should still be calling. He should be in Indiana tonight, not worrying about how to put together the 2025-20 roster for the and his coaching responsibilities heading into that season for the Los Angeles Clippers. And Mark Jackson shouldn't be watching a game from a suite somewhere. He should be courtside sitting next to Mike Breen. The lack of aura with the finals. And it's been a damn good finals outside of game 2 thus far. It's been a damn good finals, which is the real kick in the teeth. Because now, granted, no one's watching this series, but the games itself have been very entertaining and have been very compelling. And the storylines with the two teams very, very interesting, very compelling. But listen, you can't control whether or not people are going to watch. You can't control that. It happens how it happens. You get a match where we got two small markets. There's no LeBron, no New York, no Boston, no New York, no Boston, no Los Angeles. It happens. You can't control that. What you can control, though, is making sure, regardless who the teams are, that the NBA Finals feels like the NBA Finals. And outside of Super Bowl 55, Bucks and Chiefs, I cannot recall in all my years of watching sports saying to myself going into, or not going into, but coming out of a Super Bowl or in the midst of a World Series saying, damn, this didn't feel like, it's like we were going to decide a champion with this game tonight. Outside of one, and that was Chiefs Bucks, and the only reason why that didn't feel like the Super Bowl in my eyes is because of the fact there was a pandemic and it was damn near nobody in the building. It felt, watching that game felt like I was watching a Madden simulation of the Super Bowl, where I knew it was Super Bowl because you had all the signage and all the traditional bells and whistles that go along and comes with the Super Bowl, but it didn't feel like the Super Bowl. But that wasn't anything that the NFL did. They were playing a game during a one in a century pandemic. There was nothing that the NFL could do. It was out of their control. They couldn't play a game in front of 70,000 people in the building because there's a pandemic going on. So, but even then, that wasn't their fault. This is the NBA's fault. The fact that their damn good finals through 3 games has no mystique to it that makes it feel like it's the NBA Finals. ESPN shows all the the clips and the flashback photos of NBA Finals games. Forget from like 30 and 40 and 50 years ago. I'm talking about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago. And it's like, damn, like the NBA Finals just don't hit like that no more. Part of it is obviously it comes with the nostalgia factor. It comes with the territory. The older you get and the more time that passes, but still, it's disgusting how Adam Silver has basically watered down the NBA Finals to no benefit of anything. You can still make your money and nickel and dime and hustle and soak up YouTube TVs every single buck without getting rid of the classic signature mystique of your championship. You can have in this situation, you can have your cake and eat it too. It's just that Adam Silver is just not bright enough and intelligent enough or cognitive and aware enough to execute that. In terms of the games itself, game 3, listen, it was refreshing to see the Oklahoma City Thunder play a large part of that game from an area of not in a state of being in an area of defense, but more so like with their backs up against the wall. On their heels would be the best phrase. You take a look. First of all, the story in this series has been the fourth quarter. Did you guys know that the Indiana Pacers have outscored the Oklahoma City Thunder 173 in every single fourth quarter of these first 3 games? They've outscored them 100-73 in the fourth quarter of the previous 3 games. 100-73. And did you know in game 3 on Wednesday night, obviously they outscored Oklahoma City 32-18, but their offensive efficiency in the fourth quarter has been that of madmen. They're shooting 62% from the field compared to Oklahoma City's 35%. That's damn near a whole 30% better if you want to be specific with the numbers. They're shooting 3 of 5 from 3. The Thunder in game 3 only took 4 threes, missed every last one of them. They weren't efficient from the free throw line. They got to the free throw line 7 more times than Indiana did, but they shot 60% with their 10 attempts. Pacers got to the line 3 times, made all 3 free throws. And listen, we might have a conversation about Chet Holmgren in greater detail if the Pacers end up walking away with the Larry O'Brien trophy. I mean, Chet Holmgren, nice talent, phenomenal guy out there on the court, has played his ass off throughout the course of this sensational season for Oklahoma City. But you can tell when the Indiana Pacers buck up and put bodies on him and have yellow jerseys stalking on him like flies on shit, and they wall up and follow him every single time the ball is in his hands inside, he does nothing. I mean, I'm taking a look at a sequence. This was about with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter with OKC down 7. He receives the pass, dribble pass off the pass off the dribble from Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and he catches the pass. And he immediately, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Pacers right there to meet him, and immediately hot potatoes and passes it back outside to the wing. I mean, I'll give Indiana tremendous credit for following him and not letting him beat him inside. But I mean, my goodness, I understand. There's 1, 2, 3. I mean, literally a triangle's worth of defenders. You got a defender here, a defender here, and defender down here, and he takes the pass for 1 second and he immediately passes. Instead of what I would do and what he arguably should have done is get the pass from Shea, dribble inside, hope that those 4 Pacers players crash and essentially run into each other, so you have 1, 2 open shots to the right of you, and Lou Dort obviously would have been wide open for 3 if he looked his way down there low on the left-handed side of the wing, close to the broadcaster's table, would have had him open there for 3 and would have cut it to a 3-point lead at the time. But he catches SGA's pass off the dribble, takes 1 dribble, and then kicks it back outside. I mean, could you at least make an effort? Could you at least make an effort to say, hey, 4-on-1, I don't give a shit. I'm going to put a body on one of y'all motherfuckers, and if I get a shot, great. If I get fouled, great. And the other best case scenario, I draw you guys closer inside, and then I kick it back outside for a pass to an open man. Between that and he got a shot blocked later on in that sequence with 2 minutes to go, and then dribbled back inside. He got a shot blocked again on a double team. And he was absolutely abysmal in game 1. And then in game number 3 the other night, 6 of 15, missed all 6 of his 3-point attempts, and scored a very quiet 20 points. I have not been impressed with what I've seen from Chet Holmgren so far in this series consistently. He's got to be able, and I've had this epiphany really all playoff long when I just watch him move up and down the court, especially when he's got the ball in his hands down low. I said to myself, this guy's got to find a way to put on some major weight in the offseason. Even I know in today's NBA where everybody shoots threes in the perimeter game, he's 7'1" and he's 208 pounds. He's 7 feet tall and doesn't even weigh 210. Like that's a problem. I mean, what do I weigh? About 190, in between 195, 197, and I'm a whole 9 inches shorter than Chet Holmgren is, and I'm only about 10 to 15 pounds lighter. I mean, come on. You power forward, you're 7 feet tall. You can't weigh 208. You can't weigh 208. He is way too slender, way too skinny. He's got to do nothing but hit the weight room. The weight room and the kitchen need to be his best friend over the summer. He's got to come into camp a little heftier, a little bulkier, a little more muscular. And if you can't build it up here because just genetically you just don't have it like that, that's fine. But something Squats. Look, if you walk into camp and from your waist up looks the same, at least walk into camp and for people to look at you up and down and see you ain't got toothpicks attached to your waist. It is something. Calves, hamstrings, quads, everything. I prefer from shoulders down to your calves. But if doing the crunches and walking around looking like gun show ain't your thing, you know what? Fine. Lower body workouts. Incline on the treadmill, Stairmaster, elliptical, something. He's too skinny. And when you're 7 feet tall and you weigh 208, I mean, you might as well from the Pacers' perspective, it's like going up against Jalen Brunson in terms of the lack of comparative size to the other guys they can throw at you on the court. But I have not been impressed by him. Any stretch of the imagination, I have not been impressed at all. And the thing about Indy, and he's going to have to step up tonight. He is going to have to step up and carry his weight because if you've noticed what has been the method to the Pacers' madness throughout the course of this phenomenal playoff run they've been on, it's been team basketball. It's been team basketball top to bottom with Toppin and Bryant coming off the bench. Benedict Mathurin was the star of the night coming off the bench for Indiana. 9 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 27 points on 4 rebounds. He was the star. Early in the playoffs, it's been Thomas Bryant, Obi Toppin. It's been TJ McConnell over the span of the last few seasons, was a big part of their run to the conference finals last year when they lost against Boston. So it's a team effort. Pascal Siakam's getting you 21 points on 14 shots, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. You're getting something obviously from Halliburton, who's the premier star of the team. 9 of 17. 22 points on the night with 11 assists and 9 rebounds, damn near a rebound shy of a triple-double. You're getting something from everybody. You're getting production from multiple guys coming off the bench. You're getting production from 2 to 3, maybe best case scenario, 4 guys out of your starting 5. It's a collaborative team effort with the Indiana Pacers. And you can't fall into that trap with Oklahoma City, where it's just going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, granted, they got 3 out of their 5 guys walked away with over 20 points, but it's how they get their 20 points. It's how they get their 20 points. Chet Holmgren got to be better. Got to be better. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was 9 of 20 on the night and made 1 3. That's not good enough. That's a very average, mediocre 24-point game, especially when you turn over the basketball 6 times. And Jalen Williams, who scored 26 points on 18 shots, turned over the basketball 4 times himself. So if you're not shooting as well as you should be, and ideally you can't turn over the basketball. Those guys gotta find that extra gear. And I told y'all when this series began, I got to see the Thunder when their backs are pushed up against the wall and the Pacers have them on their heels. I got to see them fight back, scratch and claw, and show a little bit of championship veteran-like grit. You can't win every single game. You can't, not in this age of NBA basketball. You have to be able to find a way to win a game down 12 with 3 minutes to go. You got to find a way to win a game down 7 with 50 seconds left. You got to be able to find a way to win the back and forth nail biters, where the largest lead of the night, either side is at the max 5 points. And Oklahoma City, throughout the playoff run, it's no shame, no condemnation, but that's the one thing I worried about going in. Their ability to win these white-knuckler games when they are on the defensive and their opposition is on the offensive, because they've been so used to all season long to being the ones that's delivering the punch, and it's gotten to the point where you fear for Oklahoma City. They've gotten so used to delivering a punch that they forgot what it's like to take a few. Now, give them credit, they're able to bounce back in the Denver series, but as we obviously know, Denver's not as good as Indiana. They got the best player in the universe in Jokic, but collectively as a team, are not as good as Indiana. And when they play that series, damn near a whole month ago. A month ago. So I got to see that from OKC. Where's that blue collar championship level toughness? And that's what I fear from them. In large part due to their inexperience, which, it is what it is, but they got to be able to get off the deck. When the Pacers go on a 12-2, 12-0, 10-2 run, who's going to be the player that's going to look on the sideline, galvanize his team in between whistles or during the timeout and say, guys, relax, deep breaths, we're in this thing. We can't eat the elephant all in one sitting. We got to break it off piece by piece, and as intense and as physical and as fast as we got to be prepared at a moment's notice to drop and turn it up a notch. So at the very least, we can prevent an avalanche from happening. Because when these guys catch fire, there's no stopping them. We saw it obviously on Wednesday. We saw it periodically against the Knicks. We saw it against Cleveland. We saw it against Milwaukee. And the Pacers have not lost back-to-back games since early March. That is inconceivable. As many games they've played from early March, March 10th, whatever it was, up till now, and they haven't lost back-to-back games since in any playoff series thus far, or even the regular season games to close the month of March through April. That's impressive as hell. Rick Carlisle, I tell you something, he has put on a championship head coaching masterclass. Not just within this series, but all spring long. And there's going to be a special place in NBA head coaching hierarchies if the Pacers find a way to win 2 more games and win themselves the NBA championship. They might not have screamed best team in the NBA on paper when the playoffs began, but considering outside of the the Glenn Rivers-led Bucks, so from the Cavs series through now, what team has been more deserving in a span of the last 2.5 months to win the NBA title than the Indiana Pacers, based on who they've played, who they've beaten? With a healthy Jason Tatum, throw the Celtics in for kicks and giggles. Knowing these psychotic SOBs, they'd have found a way to beat the Celtics too. You could have made an addendum to the playoff format and had them play Boston before they had to play the Knicks, and they probably still would have found a way to beat them. Play anybody from the West. Hell, give them Denver for kicks and giggles. We probably would have found a way to beat them too. This team's on a heater, man. But the Thunder have got to find a way to get off the deck. And they've been a good road team, in the regular season. Where they go 32-8 on the road in the regular season. They got to find a way to get off the deck, because that you can tell, and you throughout the sequence of that game Wednesday night and even early on, that crowd kind of shook them a little bit. Playing at the Cambridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, it does not compare to playing at the FedEx Forum in Memphis. Doesn't compare to playing at the Pepsi Center in Denver. Doesn't compare to playing in the Target Center in Minneapolis. No. This is a totally different animal, my friends. Oklahoma City's got a great home court. Nothing to take away from them or their great fan base. But the Pacers got just as much of an intimidating and raucous home court advantage as Oklahoma City does. And Oklahoma City learned that on Wednesday night. And they have to take that into account the next time they want to get sloppy and lazy on the offensive side and defense side of the floor, for that matter. Because they have not looked like the best team. They did not look like the best team from October through now in the NBA with their performance on Wednesday night. They got to be better. You gotta bring the intensity, and you cannot let the what did I say in the Knicks series? You cannot let the momentum and the energy of the crowd overwhelm you to the point where it becomes an avalanche, where they're making every single basket, every single shot that they take. They're getting blocks. They're taking away the basketball, and then on the flip side, the crowd noise, it becomes so deafening and so overwhelming that it kind of they smush you like a bug, emotionally and theoretically speaking. But I need more from Chet Holmgren, and I gotta see the team with their laziness, and just I guess it's the youth and the immaturity of them. It's nothing else to punch it up to, because you can watch this series at times and you can tell who's got the vets that's been there and done that before, and who's the young whippersnappers in this series. Dagnall, Eshe, all of them. Hartenstein is the quote unquote veteran, but I mean, come on. You look at Indiana, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam. Carlisle's been around the block, won a championship. Very difficult to overcome. Now, if the Thunder win tonight, tie the series up at 2-2, it's anybody's series. But do I like a young team coming back from 3-1, having to fly back home for a game 5 where Indiana already won before, knowing that they would have 3 opportunities in their back pocket to win a championship, including a game 6? In a given scenario, if they win tonight, they would have both home games as wins in their back pocket. Even for a team that won as many games as Oklahoma City did, for the records with the blowouts, that would scare me. That would scare me. You know who they low-key remind me of? They remind me of this past season's Duke Blue Devils. Remember how we talked about with Duke, great team, they blow everybody out, Shire, hell of a coach, they do everything right, they're very efficient with and all the records in terms of blowing teams out and winning games comfortably by 20 points or more, and how dominant they were throughout the course of the regular season through the ACC conference tournament. And but you remember how I came on here and I said, talk about the greatness of Cooper Flag, blah, 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 blah. But we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about if a season literally is hanging in the balance, can Cooper Flag make a clutch basket to keep Duke's season alive when push comes to shove? We talked about that, and we talked about how Duke would be able to play and carry themselves and manage themselves accordingly when they find themselves in a white knuckler. We fast forward, they go to the Final Four, they go up against Houston, white knuckler down to the bitter end, balls in Cooper Flag's hands for him to send his team to the national championship, and he and Duke came up small. I got a funny feeling that history will repeat itself on the pro circuit with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because literally, it's like young head coach has done a great job, young team that, couldn't lose throughout the course of the regular season if they tried. They got the best player within the league in a given season, Cooper Flag to SGA, Dagnall to John Shire. How they've been able to kick ass and take names throughout the course of the regular season, heading into the postseason and everything, and they run to a team that may not have had as good or as dominant of a regular season through postseason as they did, but there's a certain mental and physical toughness intangible within that given team that they have that the Dukes / the Oklahoma City Thunder, I fear, doesn't have. Put the ball in Cooper Flag's hands. Can he make a basket? He couldn't against Houston. If the situation arises either tonight or in a game 5 or in a game 6 or even in a game 7, if we get that far, can SGA, with his team's championship hopes resting in the palm of his hands, can he get his team home? I know Halliburton can. Can SGA do it for the Oklahoma City Thunder? That is the multi-million dollar question. The multi-million dollar question. Can they bounce back and win game 4 tonight? I say they do. And a close one, but I say they do. Give me the Thunder to win by 5. Switching gears to our beloved Major League Baseball, and you know what? Let me talk about these bums, get them on out the way. We haven't given a commentary on the Orioles on the show in a long time. Tried to lay low, save my voice, and plus, what's there to scream about when it's the same damn thing over and over again? The team stinks. They still stink. They're 13 games under 500. I'm not going to fall for the bells and the smoke and mirrors and the Fugazi empty 6-game winning streak. I mean, the teams they beat in this 6-game winning streak were the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners. And I said it on WEAA, and I'll say it here. The White Sox stink. Unless your team is the Colorado Rockies, you are supposed to beat the Chicago White Sox, especially at home. You swept them. Congratulations. You swept the Chicago White Sox at home. Give me a break. And then the other team, as I drop my phone, the Seattle Mariners. Like I said about the series against the Red Sox that they split about 2 to 3 weeks ago, that was more an indictment on the Seattle Mariners than it was the great job that the Orioles did in sweeping them. How many times have we talked in the history of this show about the Seattle Mariners being a Fugazi paper tiger baseball team and a team that fails come hell to high water to graduate to that next tier and becoming a juggernaut atop the American League to win the pennant? I mean, we must have been through this with this, at least with this current core. We've been through it about a half a dozen times. With the history of this team in the last 15, 20 years, we must have gone through it damn near 24 times. The Seattle Mariners are not, I understand they got great pitching. I get that. But you know what the record is right now? 33-34. They were in first place literally a month ago. And now they're 33-34. Like, hello? You get what you get with the Seattle. It's the same thing. They got great pitching and they can't hit worth the damn. Julio Rodriguez is overrated. Yes, we can talk about Kyle Riley, him and Aaron Judge going back and forth for leading the American League in home runs. But home runs aside, he can't hit outside of hitting the ball at the ballpark. He can't hit. This guy's got a batting average in the 200s. Can't hit. So it's like, oh, well, look at the job they did sweeping the Seattle Mariners. Okay. They got Kyle Riley, who's a career 224 hitter. Big deal. The Seattle Mariners have been a Fugazi paper tiger within the American League since this quote-unquote championship window opened, 3 years ago, give or take. And so give me a break. Oh, they're beating the Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners always collapse, crash, and burn. They always do this. They start out the season hot, and then around, if this year it's early, they decided to get their collapse on and to get their self-destruction on in June. Typically, they like to save it for September or in August, and then their season goes up in flames when the shit hits the fan. But the Seattle Mariners they're literally no better than the Boston Red Sox. Two teams everybody thought going into the season, I raised my hand, me being one of them, specifically when it comes to the Red Sox, thought they were going to be a juggernaut, win the division, put on a deep playoff run, and now both teams are average at best, who don't look like championship baseball teams, let alone American League Championship Series caliber baseball teams. So they beat two mid teams. It's what happens with average teams. Sometimes they punch above their weight class, and the other times they get beat around and knocked all over the place by garbage. Situation with the Red Sox a few weeks ago, same applies with the Seattle Mariners. Two average baseball teams, they got their teeth kicked in by a bad baseball team. It happens in a span of a 162. I mean, really, congrats. And then what do? They turn around last weekend. They go to Sacramento. They had opportunities hand over fist to beat the Oakland A's. Keston Kierstead can't hit his way out of a paper bag, and it's as unclutch as the damn day is long in the middle of July. And what happened? They come up empty. Mason Miller smokes them. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and they have their 6-game winning streak snapped in a game they easily and should have won, losing last Friday night 5-4. They bounced back to win, whoop-de-damn-do, and then it's like they wanted to be anywhere else but on the field in Sacramento last Sunday afternoon. They got absolutely dominated by a no-name starting pitcher that had an ERA through the freaking roof. Yet again, what else is new with this team? Getting dominated by random no-names with ERAs anywhere ranging from 4 to 7.5. And then they come back home. They play the Detroit Tigers. Cade Povich. What else is new? This is the most predictable baseball team I've ever seen in my life. Just pause in this mini rant for a second. This is the most predictable Orioles team, one of the more predictable baseball teams I have ever seen in my entire life. They are so predictable. It is insulting. If their games were any more predictable from a day-and-day basis, you'd swear these things were scripted. They come back home, they take on the Detroit Tigers, and what does Cade Povich do? He and his useless 5.46 ERA having-ass self, what does he do? He vomits all over himself, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, and gives up a home run, which he does damn near every single freaking time. 3 in the 5th inning. That was all she wrote. Tigers win 5-3. Orioles can't come back to save the universe, to prevent World War III. They can't come back. That's all they used to do. That's all they did in the front end of last year. That's all they did in 2023. That's all they did in 2022. That was their calling card. Coming back and winning games they had no business winning, stealing victory from the jaws of defeat. Down 1 run, 2 run, 3 run, 4 run, hell, sometimes 5 runs, ain't no problem. They got anywhere from 3 to 9 outs to work with. They're going to find a way to scratch and claw and fight and win that given game, like it's Game 7 of the World Series. It used to be their calling card. Now they don't even come close to doing that anymore. They're down a run, 2, 3. That's it. Head for the exits. Exits. Wave goodbye to your buddies that you saw at the game. Pack it in. It's over. Fall into a 4-0 hole through 3 innings. It's a wrap. It's a ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Country ball. Get all that out the way. Game's going to be over in 5 minutes. Lo and behold, they fall into a 4-1 hole after they got out to an early lead at the bottom of the 3rd inning. And thanks to Cade Povich being a useless BP machine bum of a starting pitcher, that went by the wayside, and you knew the game was over. Wave goodbye. Bye-bye. Game's over. They were very fortunate to win. I understand if you didn't watch the game, you say, really, Jai, very fortunate to win when they won 10-1. This was a 1-run game this was a 1-run tight contested baseball game until that bottom of the 8th inning showed up. They were up 2-1 and 3-1 heading into the 8th. And they had multiple opportunities from the 4th inning through up until that bottom of the 8th to blow that game open. They had multiple opportunities to blow that game open and to put Detroit early, and they couldn't. Multiple opportunities, runners on the corners, runners on 2nd and 3rd, and they couldn't play runners on 1st and 2nd, couldn't play anybody home. And it damn near came back to bite them square in the ass when Detroit put together the rally to get their first and essentially only run on the board in the top of that 7th inning. And had 1 or 2 things gone poorly in Keegan Aiken's appearance in relief, when arguably to some, and I don't disagree, Tony Mancelino leaving and Zach Eflin maybe a batter or two too long, that game would have been a loss. Would have been a loss. But quickly from the Detroit Tigers side of things, I can't for the life of me understand why they decide. I forget who their third base coach is off the top of my head. I don't understand why Perez didn't score in that double to hit off the top of the wall in right field in the top of the seventh inning. I mean, what do you have to lose? That I don't understand. The read he got, I don't understand. That ball was not going to be caught off the fly. That was going to be an extra base hit, which it was, a double or triple, or it was going to be a home run. I understand on a ball hit that high and that far and that hard into right field why you low key don't treat it like it's 2 outs and you run on contact. There's no way. And granted, the Orioles played that ball perfectly and did a good job of limiting the damage. But how does he stay at third base in a situation with that double? I for sure thought the moment that ball ricocheted off the top of the right field wall, the game was tied. And then they switched the camera angle, and the guy literally he stops, he rounds third base, and he pulls up. You don't test it? I don't know. That, from a Detroit Tigers side of things, if I was a Tiger fan, I'd have been a little bit annoyed because, I mean, if you score in that situation and the game is tied there at 2 runs apiece, who knows how the rest of the game goes? And with the Orioles up 3-2 instead of 3-1, maybe they go. I mean, the game maybe plays out differently. But that's nitpicking. That's quibbling. The Tigers have played their ass off. We'll get to them in a minute. But in the moment, that one kind of was a head scratching set of sequences there from the Detroit Tigers' perspective. But up until the bottom of the 8th inning, they could have very easily, until the floodgates opened with their bullpen. That game easily, they easily could have swept us. Because that game was right there for the taking for the majority of Wednesday night's affair, and they didn't make the Orioles pay for squandering opportunities up until the 8th inning for them to put the game out of reach, and eventually the dam broke and they paid for it dearly. In terms of the game last night, again going back to this team being predictable as hell, it's just Tariq Skubal is on the mound. His off-speed stuff last night was absolutely. I mean, it's a joy to watch when he's not facing your team. He's a joy to watch pitch because he is an absolute surgeon when he's out there on the mound. His command, the specific use of his pitches, how he's able to the pinpoint accuracy. It's the cohesion between he and the catcher calling the game, knowing the right pitch to use in a given count, a given situation. I mean, it's the guy walks the lead. I forget what inning it was. He walks the leadoff batter. He faces. This had to be in either the 6th or the 7th inning. He walks the first batter he faces of that specific inning. Only his 9th walk surrendered of the season. And I mean, by the way, let me just read you this stat right quick. But as I find it, I'm gonna just say he walks the leadoff batter he faces in that 6th or the 7th inning, and only Tariq Skubal walks the leadoff batter in a relatively tight-ish game where they're within 5 runs or less from tying the game up, and he comes back and he mows down the next 3 hitters he faces. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. He and Paul Skeens. It's a magnificent to see what this guy does on the mound every single 5th day. He's walked 9 batters this season, 111 strikeouts, and 90 and a third innings pitched thus far this season. With pitching to an ERA of 1.99, and had not he gotten his teeth kicked in his first start of the season back in late March against the Dodgers and had an atrocious, for his standards, atrocious month of April, his ERA probably would be a 5th of a run. He's been so damn dominant since. He has been absolutely magnificent. In his last 7 starts, pitching to a 4-0 record with a 1.81 ERA and 49 2/3 innings pitched, surrendered only 10 runs, walking 4 batters, 63 strikeouts. It's phenomenal. And you knew going into that game that the Orioles didn't have a chance in hell unless that game was tied 0-0 by the time Skubal exited the game. Now, if you want to give him little brownie points because they were able to work his pitch count and put themselves in a situation where he did not throw a complete game, go ahead and hang the banner. To me, it was hell no. But it was so predictable going into last night's game. You knew he was going. The minute, literally, the fireworks went off when the Orioles recorded their 27th out and their win on Wednesday, I said to myself, enjoy this shit now because, good and damn well, these bats are going to be flatter than Taylor Swift at the sheetrock aisle in your nearest Lowe's once Skubal throws the first pitch on Thursday night. And lo and behold, it's exactly what the hell happened. Was whiffing and was missing bats left and right. And then when you're the Baltimore Orioles and you, for some asinine and inane reason, still have Dean Kramer on your roster, you're going to lose. He's good for getting up 1 to 2 homers a night, 4 2/3, 5 innings pitched, maybe makes it through 6 if you're lucky. Good for 1 solid quality start a month. And the rest in between, utter, putrid, disgusting, vomit-inducing dog crap. The fact that he's still on this team, my God, it bothers me. Who cares? He struck out 8 batters. Yeah, he struck out 8 batters, and the Detroit Tigers bats couldn't hit him once the game was already out of reach when he gave up that atrocity in the top of the 4th inning, surrendering 4 runs, 2 homers, 1 solo, and then a 3-run jack that put the game away. The game was over through 3.5 because Dean Kramer stinks. You're asking this anemic lineup that can't touch left-handed starting pitching when they're no-names, bums with ERAs over 5? And then you expect them to touch the best the best starting pitcher in the universe? Who also happens to be left-handed, which is this team's kryptonite? That's a tall order in and of itself. And then you throw in Dean Kramer out there, gives up 2 home runs and gives the game away in a singular inning. You could have shut this game off by the time they recorded the 3rd out in the top of the 4th inning. Because you knew this team, again, is not coming back. They don't know what a comeback is. They don't know comebacks. They don't know walk-offs. They don't know getting off the deck when they get punched in the face. They don't know that. They used to know it. It's a foreign language to them now. An unclutched, mentally soft team. Mentally soft and physically soft. How many damn soft tissue injuries I got to sit up and read about? With the hamstrings, with Westberg, and with Mullins, and now Mountcastle's going to miss 5. He's going to miss essentially 2 months, and now Mr. Bodybuilder Tyler O'Neill, he's out with a damn shoulder injury. If you want to lift weights and are more satisfied on being bulky, retire from baseball, give the money back, and go into, and maybe you can join the National Canadian weightlifting bodybuilding team for the Olympics coming up in 2028. Go do that. You'd be better off doing that than you are being just a waste of space on my baseball team. Guy showed up, hit the cover off the ball in Canada on the opening weekend of the season, and has been MIA ever since. But getting back to Kramer, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? In 14 starts, he's got a ERA of a tick under 5 and 79 1/3 innings pitched. He's a career ERA starting pitcher of 4.38. He's not good. Can we retire the Dean Kramer experiment and officially call it a failure? Dan Duquette and Peter/John Angelos got back this bum in exchange for a generational talent and Manny Machado, all because these useless, pathetic, disgusting, brain-dead bastards were too damn cheap and were too damn stupid to pay this man what he was worth. And they essentially traded him for a box of cigarettes and a bag of cheese doodles in terms of what they got in return. What the hell? Tired of looking at him. Nothing personal. Locker room after the games, meets with the media. I like that. I like his disposition and the grit and the attitude in which he carries himself, but it doesn't translate in between the white lines. It just doesn't. It doesn't. He carries himself like he's on Tariq Skubal's level, but he's far from it when you watch him pitch. Leaves too many just cookies over the middle of the plate, middle, and hitters' happy zones. Gives up home runs left and right, especially when it comes at the most inopportune time in a given game. Whether the team gets out to an early lead or it's a game that the team has to go through and play their cards close to the vest and know that it's going to be one of those first teams to score first wins. They really can't afford to fall into a 3 or 4 or 5 run deficit. And what does Dean Kramer do? He gives up 2-3 home runs and the game's out of reach. You look up the scoreboard, it's 6-2, game's over. I can't take it anymore. Can't take it, man. Enough's enough. The trade was a failure. Dean Kramer's tenure as an Orioles is a failure. Get him off the team. Seriously, like deadline time, anybody who thinks they can improve Dean Kramer, they can fix him. And needs an extra arm or whatever for some depth, give it to him for free. Hell, call and see if the Dodgers want him back, because they got injury issues with their rotation up the yin yang. Dean Kramer feels like, to his credit, never gets hurt. Give him back to the Dodgers. Just get him off my team and out of my uniform. I'm tired of looking at him. And I'm tired of looking at Mike Elias, too. And the idea that you're Cal Ripken Jr., and you basically say, among other things, well, Mike's our guy. He's put together winning baseball teams. He's a winning GM. Oh, bullshit. Give me a break. This team has won as many postseason games the last few years as I have, and they're in last place in 13 games under 500. The hell do you mean he's a winning GM, Cal Ripken Jr.? You won in 83. This team under his watch can't even be bothered to win a damn playoff series when they do make the playoffs. So as you can tell, nothing has changed in terms of my demeanor towards this team. They still stink. They still piss me off. Anyway, I digress. The Tigers are great. Elite starting pitching. Elite bullpen. Lineup is underrated. AJ Hinch is a gem. And then that's another thing. I don't hear from any Orioles fans either. Well, what do you expect? It's the Tigers are the best team in baseball. At least we didn't get swept. Oh, go scratch, will you please? Save me the fucking woe is me, little train that could, victim complex, mamby-pamby, loser type perspective. Lose it. Go somewhere else with it. Don't come to me with it. I'm not interested. This is a team that not too long ago, you could have put the 27 Yankees in front of them, and they would have, in the best of 5, in the best of 7 series, they'd have found a way to at least push them to a damn game 7. I'm being hyperbolic, but you get what the hell I'm saying. For this team to literally be from one of the more fearless teams in baseball to be one of the more softer and mentally weak and timid, most feeble teams in baseball is a damn disgusting embarrassment. So I don't want to hear it. Best team in baseball. Okay, that's still no excuse. They faced them 6 times. They lost 5. 6 times. They lost 5. Could you give me 3-3? I'll take 3-3. Could you give me 3-3? Or even 2-4? 2-4, 3-3, 3-3 at the maximum. Is that asking too much? You win a series, they win a series. You sweep them, they sweep you. Was that asking too much? Was that asking too much? You sit up here and say, oh, it's still early. It's still 90-some games after the season. It's only June. Season's far from over. Only 9 games back. Anything and that. You can give me all the baseball comeback season speak and verbal bull jive to the gods. Fact of the matter is, eventually, I got to see it happen. I got to see it transpire. I got to see the tree bearing the winning fruit on the field. You can't talk your way back into having a season worth a damn. You got to play like it. And it includes beating and finding ways to beat teams that are better than you. San Francisco Giants, one of the best teams in all of baseball, got walked off. Best teams in the National League got walked off by the Rockies the other night. Yesterday afternoon. Orioles can't even be bothered to put a damn walk-off together. Stop making excuses for them. Yes, I know the Tigers are great. This is nothing to do, no shade, no disrespect, no condemnation, taking away nothing from the Detroit Tigers. I think, in my humble estimation, and if the postseason were to begin this weekend, I would like the Detroit Tigers' chances to be not only win the American League pennant, I like their chances in going up against the Cubs or the Dodgers in a hypothetical World Series. They're a great baseball team for the reasons I just laid out for you. They got the starting pitching that can win a championship. They got the managerial know-how that can win a championship. That hot streak they went on in the back end of last year, were able to ride that wave into a second-round playoff series last October, will benefit them greatly this October. This has nothing to do with the Detroit Tigers. It has everything to do with the Baltimore Orioles, because the Baltimore Orioles are paid professionals too. They get paid to play baseball too for a living. They get celebrated and get commended for winning baseball games too. Those guys should have some pride. Those guys should have a standard to be the best that they can be in the world of baseball too. Their goal, their expectation, at least so we thought, is to win a World Series championship too. So I don't hear any excuses. Well, the Tigers are great, so give them a pass. Nonsense. You're at home. You got swept and embarrassed by them in their place in April. Go ahead and repay the favor and sweep them. At the bare bones minimum, take 2 out of 3. You can't take 2 out of 3. You got to show some signs of life against somebody worth a damn. And it can't always be against the New York Yankees. Tigers and Yankees, by the way, cream of the crop in the American League. Everybody else, it feels like it is mid. Is honestly what it feels like. It literally feels like we are on a collision course to a Tiger-Yankee ALCS, and everybody else is just, window dressing. The Blue Jays, they've won 8 out of the last 10 on a 3-game winning streak. They're only 8 games under 500. Feels like window dressing. And they are not that good away from Rogers Center either. The Rays are 4 games under 500. Have won 6 out of 10. Feels like window dressing. The Red Sox, as we've discussed, has been mid this season. The Minnesota Twins only 4 games under and 8 games back. I mean, come on. When the Minnesota Twins are going to do anything? Guardians only 3 games under. They've lost 6 out of the last 10, 8.5 back. I mean, come on. The American League, the Angels, who are 33, and they're a game under 500. Yes, they've won 7 of the last 10. Yes, they're on a 3-game winning streak. Yes, they're only 4 games back of the Astros. But you really think that the Angels are going to make it into the postseason? And if they do make any noise, I mean, stop. Give me a break. It would be good for seeing Mike Trout in the postseason and Ron Washington managing in October again for the first time since 2012. But what we doing here? The American League's not good. It's not. And even the teams that are quote unquote good that hold playoff spots, they're less than 10 games above 500. Like I said, Blue Jays only 8 games over. Twins and Rays only 4 games over. The Guardians, who are a half game out of a playoff spot, are 3 games over. Everybody else either below 500, including Kansas City Royals, got swept by the Yankees over in the last few days, who now have a negative 21 run differential, who have lost 7 out of the last 10. They're a game under 500. American League's not that good. It's the Yankees and the Tigers and then everybody else. And even the Houston Astros, give them credit, they're always scrappy. They always find a way to extend their championship window with every single win, with every single successful season that they've had in this period of time. But are they as good as the Tigers and the Yankees? No. And even them, what did I say? They're less than 10 games above 500. They're 38 and 30. Won 7 of the last 10 in first place, as per usual. Give them credit. But they are not on the level that the Tigers and the Yankees are, and nor have they been throughout the course of their first 68 games this year. It's not has not been the case for them. No, they can obviously elevate to the Tigers and the Yankees. I want to put past them, but thus far they haven't been. That's all there is to it. They haven't been. Take a look at the San Diego Padres and how they've fared. They just coming off of a series loss against the Dodgers at home, losing by 1 run, 8-7 on Monday night, and then had their opportunities. Manny Machado, one of them. 3-0 if you're Manny in that situation. I understand bases loaded. He has to throw you a strike there. But unless it's a pitch that you literally can hit into the upper deck in left field, you don't swing 3-0. You got 2 more strikes to work with. That at bat essentially was the game that Manny Machado had with the bases loaded there late on Wednesday afternoon. So they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. They have an opportunity to get their lick back because they go to Dodger Stadium for 4 in the meat and potatoes of this upcoming week, the 16th through the 19th. But that's a series that would have been nice for the Padres to get. They're 38 and 29. They hold the third and final wildcard spot in the National League. They're currently the 6th seed in the National League playoff picture as of now. And in the West, they are 2 games back. Had they taken 2 out of 3 or swept the Dodgers, they'd hold a share of first place atop that division. Now, the team that's in between them and the Dodgers is the San Francisco Giants, who currently is 40 and 29, a game back of the Dodgers. They've won 7 out of the last 10. They embark on a 3-game weekend series against the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine this weekend. They did a phenomenal job. Obviously, we discussed earlier this week on Monday's show how well they did against the Atlanta Braves, who can't get out of their own way as their season is just fading fast and fading by the day. They took care of business against them at home at AT&T Park last weekend. So you got 3 this weekend between the Giants and the Dodgers. You got Yamamoto on the mound tonight, Webb on the mound pitching to a 2.58 ERA. Logan Webb, that is, for your San Francisco Giants. I tell you, the quiet as it's kept, the National League West pennant race this summer could be an all-timer. You know, the East is already won. The Central's already won. The West, even though the Astros up 4.5 games, that division title is already decided. Same with the National League East. Same in my eyes, maybe. Now, do I trust the Brewers 5.5 games back at 37 and 33? No, I do not. So ironic as this is, when preseason we thought the Dodgers, including me, was going to win 120-something games, shatter the 0-1 Mariners record for the most wins in a given regular season. And now for them at 41 and 28 to only have 2 games separate them and third place is astounding. And it's going to be them, the Giants, and the Padres. Those 3 teams you would figure through the bulk of the summer and to close out the first half of the season and throughout the second half for the National League Western Division Championship. Who would have thought that when the season began back in late March, that the divisional chase to pay attention to would be the National League West with the World Series champion Dodgers in the mix with the Padres. We knew, obviously, the Padres and the Dodgers were going to be good. We thought that the Dodgers were going to be so much better than everybody else that it wouldn't make the division chase a contest, you know, essentially from the third week of the season on, and that has not been the case, which is good for the sport. Man, if you're a Dodger fan, you may not like the idea that you have to sweat through a divisional pennant race throughout the course of the summer. But if you're not a Dodger fan, if you're a Giant, Padre, or a fan of any of the other 27 teams, hey, what's the shame in a nice good old fashioned NL West pennant race? So there you have it. I was just thinking, this time last week I was on the road embarking on my sojourn to that dump in Ocean. Why anyone would go to that? My God, what a waste of time. Old, outdated, dingy, and just, if you got my complexion, it's not the place for you. Not the place for you. Not the place for you. Now, listen, is it a sundown town? No. We got Klan masks and, Confederate flags flying and sporting all over the place like I saw when I went to Florida back in March of 2017? No. But I've been to better weekend getaway and vacation spots in Ocean City, Maryland. I mean, what did that sign say at the on the backstop of the Orioles game last night? No curveballs, all fun. Yeah, child, please give me a break. So there you have it. Another episode of the Amatelic podcast in the books. Like what you heard, new to the show, please don't hesitate to subscribe. Follow your boy, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, the works at the J Shield. Enjoy game number 4. We will be back on Monday to talk about that and to set the table for game 5 coming up on Monday night on Monday's show. Until next time, peace, happy Father's Day. We are gone.